Good morning. It's been a little bit since I have posted a class. I have taken a much needed pause for myself and have been in a very quiet mood. So I thought I would honor that and indulge and let myself have some space. These days, just the state of what we are living in has offered us the chance to pause. We have been forced to pause. And there's a lot of good that can come from pausing. You can become more of a witness to your own life and to your relationships, to your relationship with yourself and your spiritual practice. Maybe you've allowed yourself some time to get creative and complete some projects that you've been wanting to complete that we didn't have time to before. We're so busy. I can't tell you how many times I used to drive up and down my driveway a day between running to teach a yoga class, bringing my kids to their activities, whatever it may be. My day was completely filled with endless things to do. These days, my days are filled with endless opportunities to be. So, as we usually do together so often, I utilize my yoga practice to work out things in my life, and I wanted to offer you a class today to help unpack tension and unpack the busyness in our bodies, taking advantage of this pause. I have had a lot of aches and pains in my lower back and in my ribs and my mid back. And I found this practice to be very freeing in those areas. So I hope that you do too. Other than that, life has been interesting. I'm growing out my hair forcefully, and I've got quite the 90s mullet going on. I've got the makings for a really good one right now. I'm heading towards a bob. I may end up with just a blob, but we'll see. No better time to experiment with that than right now. I hope you're all doing well. I would love to hear from you. Send me an email. If you have my cell phone number, shoot me a text. Just let me know how you're doing. If you need any tips or any help with your yoga practice, if I can be a resource to you during this time, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. So let's start out in child's pose this morning. We're going to come straight into our yin practice with tissues nice and cool. Spread the knees wide, sit your hips back on your heels, and then allow your torso to be splayed out onto the floor. Find a spot for your head to make contact with something. If it doesn't reach the earth, that is okay. That's what we have our trusty blocks for. You can place a block under your forehead. If you need to pause this video to go get some props, please do so. You will need blocks. It would be nice to have a blanket and a pillow. Settle into your child's pose. Get heavy. Close your eyes. Feel the heaviness in the tops of your feet and your shins and your knees. If child's pose is too much too soon, bending of the knees, make a blanket roll and place it just behind the knees where your knees bend. Take a little bit of bend out of your knees. Relax the thighs, the front quadriceps, back hamstrings. Relax the buttocks, all of those gluteal muscles. Imagine that you can relax in between each and every vertebra as they start right at the base of your spine, connecting with your sacrum, traveling up your lower back, your mid-back and upper back, right into your neck. Picture the spaces in between the vertebra, although small, very, very important as they make space for the nerve roots, the spinal nerve roots to exit the intervertebral foramen as a whole. You may have experienced in the past, if you've had a restriction in these foramen, where you have a pinched nerve, maybe in your neck, or they cause headaches. You've experienced sciatica. In a forward fold like this, such as child's pose, we let these spaces open up, resting heavily in this passive shape where nothing is engaged, no muscles, relaxing the mind. The most important place that we can make space is in between the ears. This 6 or maybe even 7 weeks that we have been forced into hitting the brakes, staying home, settling into the gravity of this present moment, the gravity into the reality of what this virus has caused. Each cause has a very intimate relationship with an effect. In fact, they're always connected. An individual cause can never be void of an effect. So as you are causing space in your entire back body right now, bringing in the quality of patience, stillness, utilizing time as a variable, we are, in effect, creating space in the body. Space for our muscles to be in a more functional position. Space for our nerve roots to optimally fire, sending and receiving messages to and from our central nervous system. Space in our deep connective tissues, the fascia, the ligaments, our joint capsules for optimal joint function and range of motion. And emotionally, we put the brakes on our mat to check in and see just how we are doing. Unpacking the tension in the body, unpacking the tension in our minds, in our soul, and in our hearts. Let's take 3 more deep breaths right here. As you inhale at the sides of the body, the back body, even the belly, all puff out, filling the lungs from the bottom all the way up to the top underneath the collarbones. And as you exhale, let that be passive. Sigh it right out of your mouth. Let all the air go. 2 more just like this. Inhaling, exhaling. And as you take your last breath here, in this version of Child's Pose, with your next inhalation, start to bring the body up toward table. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes under, and although it's not a typical yin posture, let's press our hips up into a downward facing dog. You can bend the knees, tip the tail, and let the heels fall toward the floor. They never have to get there. 20 years, mine don't. It's okay. I'm not any more unenlightened or enlightened, depending on how close my heels get toward the floor. And straight away, I want you to shift your attention to your shoulders. Let your shoulder blades slide away from your ears. I would say slide down away from your ears, but in this inverted position, it's actually sliding up. So your shoulder blades are sliding up toward your hips, away from your ears, making space in and around your shoulders. Let the head hang heavy. In fact, you can nod, shake it out. Take a few deep breaths here. Find spaciousness once again throughout the entire back body. The hamstrings are stretching, the calves are stretching. One more breath. Feel the lungs. As you exhale, slowly start to walk the feet toward the hands. Come into a forward fold. Let the feet be hip distance apart and hang heavy. Bend your knees a lot. Let your torso rest on your thighs. If you need your blocks, grab them. So the legs are drawing in toward one another isometrically. The belly button has a little bit of tension toward the spine, and the top of the body is cascading toward the floor. Let the head go heavy. Place the hands in front of you on the floor, and let's come into a yogic squat. So begin to heel toe your toes and your feet out a little bit further than hip width apart. I'm going to turn toward you so you can see what I'm doing, but you stay right where you are. Let the hips come heavy down toward the floor. Once you get there, you may have to wiggle your feet and reposition them. Place the elbows to the inside of the knees and bring your hands into a prayer position. You can give a little counter pressure, elbows into knees, knees into elbows. If you need a block, use them. Find your breath. Find a nice upright posture. As you feel the heaviness of the sits bones rooting down toward the floor, feel the freedom and the lightness of the crown reaching up toward the sky. Although we're not in a forward fold, see if you can find the spaciousness in between the vertebrae again, with the contrasting movement, rooting down to the floor, reaching up toward the sky. As you breathe, letting the belly puff out through the gate of the legs, find a softness to this shape. Three more deep breaths here in your yogic squat. Stay if you're nudgy and impatient and feel a little achiness. Come out if there's any pain, burning, numbness, or tingling. We don't want any of that. Place the hands on the floor in front of you, rock forward, and just come back up to a forward fold. Once again, you can bend the knees, place the hands on the floor, let the torso hang heavy toward the floor. The tailbone is reaching up toward the sky, crown of the head is heavy toward the floor. So we have the same trajectory
of movement up toward the sky, down toward the floor, but now we have turned ourselves upside down. The tail is light and the crown is heavy. Place the hands firmly on the floor. Step your way back into your downward facing dog one more time. Set your feet, bend your knees, tip your tail, or let the heels be heavy. And once again, bring the attention to the shoulder blades. Slide them down away from, or slide them up, away from your ears. What was up is down, and what was down is up. Very similar to our lives these days. Things have been turned upside down. Being in an inverted position gives us a different perspective on things. Just look around the room that you're in. Everything is upside down. Maybe you see underneath your radiator or under your furniture, realizing all of the little tumbleweeds that have escaped your attention and take up residence. One more breath here. Fill your lungs, and as you exhale, allow the feet to walk toward the hands again. Let them come wide. Turn your toes out, and once again, one more time, let the hips come heavy, and bring yourself into a yogic squat. Elbows against knees, knees against elbows. Wiggle your feet around, find placement. Find your breath. Find stillness. Fill your lungs one more time. Exhale out completely. Place the hands in front of you. Lift your hips back up into a forward fold. Step your way back one more time into a downward facing dog. Right here, you're going to bend your left knee and bring it up into a sleeping swan, otherwise known as pigeon. Fix my yoga wardrobe here. Let's let the foot, I'm going to switch to the other leg so you can see what I'm doing. You can stay right where you are. Let's let the foot come closer to the groin this time instead of trying to make the shin parallel with the front of the mat. If your hip is way up, if your left hip is way up in the air, again, switching for observational purposes. So if you're here and your hip has a lot of space, take your pillow or your block, stick it under there to help keep your pelvis in a neutral position. Use the back leg to walk your toes back. Let the kneecap be heavy on the floor. And from here, come down with your torso. You can stack your hands, make a pillow, rest your forehead. Close your eyes here if you would like. And tune into your breath. Let's check in with the level of our stretch while we are here. We want to cause an appropriate effect, not cause pain. When you come into these yin poses, as soon as you feel that significant resistance in the tissues, that's your stretch. Pause there and stay there. Let that be your edge for this shape. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 is no sensation, 10 is extreme pain. We play on our mat in the 2 to 5 range. We want to find that place
that is therapeutic and healthy and not harmful. Mild to moderate sensation is what we're going for. Let the hips be very heavy. As you surrender into this, sometimes what can be deemed as an intense position. Let the breath soften the edges of this shape.
From here, let's come into a little bit of a twist. Take your right arm and slide it underneath the left arm and bring your head, the side of your head, can come right back down into the top of your hand. Straighten your hips back out. Make sure they stay level. And settle in once again. So here we are in the same position, but with just a different perspective. We are finding freedom in the hips and the ribs, the thoracic spine, the mid-back, in between the shoulder blades. A lot of you may be working on computers these days, depending on what you do for a job. If you are working from home, even if you're not working from home and you work on a computer all day, this class, this series, this sequence is really excellent for combating the positions of a flexed body. I don't like the word combating. That's not very yogic. It's very supportive. How does that sound? Or loving. I'm not a fan of when someone or myself uses the term, they're fighting this or they're fighting that. To me, that instantly puts up unhealthy boundaries and barriers and a feeling of unacceptance. Let's just take 3 more breaths here in our twisted sleeping swan. Remembering to let that left hip be very heavy. As you inhale your 4th inhalation, start to press your way up and swing the right leg right around, stacking your knees. I'm going to turn toward you so you can see what I'm doing, and come right into shoelace pose. Some of you may not have the range of motion for stacked knees. You can see mine don't stack one on top of the other. Again, I'm not any less enlightened or more enlightened, depending on how my knees stack, I promise you. If this is not comfortable for you, you can fill in the spaces, or you can simply straighten your bottom leg. Come into half shoelace. Totally up to you. I give you all these options. If you're here, you can bend your knees a lot, letting the feet come toward the hips, or you can let the feet come away from you, more parallel toward the edge of your mat. Take care of you. I can't see you right now. You can see you. You know how you feel in your body. Cause a healthy effect. Sit up nice and tall. Let the pelvis start to tip forward. Place your hands on the floor in front of you. As soon as you feel the first sensation of that significant resistance, the mild to moderate stretch, stop. There's your edge.
Play there. Let the gaze fall down toward the floor, or you can even close your eyes here. Making lots of space in and around the hips. Loosening up the hips helps to find freedom in the lower back. If you have arrived at this point and you find that you've gone too far, lucky you, you're the boss, you're the teacher, so you just back out an inch or a half an inch. Don't hassle yourself about where you are on your mat. And if you find that you're struggling, one of my favorite teachers, thank you Priscilla for introducing me to Eric Schiffman, I love when he says, ask, what is the truth in this moment? What is the truth here, really? And then he'll say, shut up and be quiet and listen, and then dare to do as prompted. If we did those 3 steps throughout our day, we would live with right action from our wisdom. Call me if you figure out how to do that. Priscilla also says that. With your next inhalation, start to sit up again. Place your hand, it would be your right hand, if I'm mirroring you, or your left hand. Whatever hand is on the same side of your foot that's on top, if that makes sense. Place your hand on the floor. Bring your other arm up overhead, and let's come into a little side bend. So that opposite sits bone on this side is staying nice and heavy and rooted in toward the floor. If that arm becomes too heavy, you can bend your elbow and just let your arm rest on the side of your head. Or if you don't like that at all, bring the back of your hand onto your sacrum. Keep that top shoulder spinning open to keep yourself honest into a pure side bend, not collapsing forward. The gaze can also be up toward the sky. Find a point to gaze at. I'm looking at my beautiful royal blue, navy blue paint splatters. They make an excellent drishti point, gaze point. One more big breath. Fill the lungs. Exhale it all out. Let the next inhalation bring you up to seated. Start to unwind the legs. Say, oh, hello, hips. Notice how sensational the release is. Make very loose fists. Pummel the outsides of your thighs, tops, the insides. Give yourself a nice little massage. You don't have me to do that for you right now. Down the sides of your shins, thumb the insides all the way up. While you're here, squeeze the soles of your feet. Give yourself a little love. And like I always say with pedicures or yoga, thank God we have 2 sides. All right, let's do this. Come back onto hands and knees. Let's start pressed up into a downward facing dog. This time, bend the right knee. Come into your sleeping swan first. Remember, the foot is tucked down more toward the hip. Use those back toes to straighten out the back leg. Flatten the top of the foot. Straight away, set up your foundation. Tuck yourself in if you need to. And then come on down and rest in sleeping swan.
Find stillness. Find your breath. Find ease. If you are wrestling with yourself in Sleeping Swan, tune in to see if it's something in your body that needs care. Take care of that. We don't want to injure our tissues ourselves. Or if it's an internal struggle, impatience, having to spend time with yourself, getting quiet, ask, what is the truth here really? Be quiet and dare to do as prompted. Getting double bang for our buck in Sleeping Swan. As you rest here, you are stretching the outside of the right hip and the front of your left hip. That hip flexor, that big, big ropey combo, iliopsoas, iliacus and psoas, they join together to make that big hip flexor. It's only one of your hip flexors, but it is the biggest. And it attaches to your lower spine and your thigh bone all the way down. It can cause trouble when it becomes tight. I have a cranky one, and if I don't take care of it, it reminds me that it needs attention. Let's take one more breath here in our neutral Sleeping Swan. And then as you exhale, let the next inhalation transition you into a twist. So take your left arm and thread it under the right, coming down onto the side of your head. The right arm can be just resting on the floor in front of your face. Let's take 5 more of your deepest breaths yet. Let your 6th inhalation transition you to press your way up, keeping your right leg right where it is and turning toward you so you can see, and just swing the left leg around, coming into shoelace on this side. Once again, knees can be stacked, bottom leg can be straight, feet can be toward your hips, or feet can be more away from you. Build your shape. Invite it into your body. Don't force your body into a pose. Take an inhalation, allow it to straighten your spine into neutral curves. And as you exhale, tipping from the pelvis, fingers can come in front of you. There's my resistance. Here's my edge, and here is my shape. I allow my gaze to fall down on the floor in front of me. I can close my eyes if I would like. Now here, I want you to pay attention to your thoughts. Come into
An inquiring mind. Inquiring minds want to know. See where your thoughts take you. They may be bouncing around from a to-do list to sadness to joy. Maybe they're quiet. Follow them with the inquisitive nature of a child and see what is calling for your attention. No judgment, no measuring, valuing, devaluing, just noticing here. Reside in the space around your thoughts. Let your adventure be around the space around your thoughts. So if you don't make space between the thoughts, it may be harder for them to show themselves to you. If you can allow yourself to be present just outside of your thoughts, there's a much better vantage point for you to become the witness than if you're tangled up among them. Like me, I have probably 500 thoughts at once. Just ask my husband what it is like at times to have a conversation with me. They're all shouting for attention at once. Sometimes I don't complete a thought or a sentence before running into the next one. Maybe you can relate, but it's helpful when I slow myself down and watch what is going on. Asking what is the truth here really is a great way to do that. Take one more big breath. Blow it all out. Let the next inhalation bring you up. As you place your right hand on the floor, bring the left hand up overhead. Let the right elbow bend to come into a little side bend, keeping the left hip heavy. Keep the torso spinning up and out, and find your breath. What I like about yin yoga is pretty much everything. But what I really like about yin yoga is I live a very crazy life in my brain, and normally in life, it's a very young existence for me. I'm buzzing around, running around. It's very busy, hot, heavy, sharp, exciting. So my yin practice counteracts that, and it really forces me, much like these days, to put the brakes on and really cultivate a relationship with myself. As hokey as that sounds, that's what yoga is for me. What is it that I need? Where can I extend myself more? Where can I withdraw more? These are all really great questions. And yin yoga affords me the time and space to do that. We're talking a lot about space today, where I'm doing the talking. You are my captive audience. My husband thanks you. Take a breath in. Exhale and release. Once again, start to untie your legs. My top hip always feels that a lot. And straighten them out, wiggle them, little pummel. Give yourself a little massage. Come up the torso with nice flat hands over the chest. Tap with your fingertips just over your breastbone. Give your thymus a little tapotement. Tap down your arm, up the inside, down the top, up the inside. With your fingertips, just tap very lightly along the back of the head, your neck muscles, out your shoulders as we come into the next thing. Let's have your blocks handy. We won't need them yet. Keep your right leg stretched out long. I'm not going to mirror you. It's a little bit too confusing doing that on video. So stretch the right leg out long. Bring the left foot in toward you and then let it come out to the side. Sit up nice and tall. Twist toward your bent knee. Have your block handy. Bring it to the inside of your knee. As you twist toward the bent knee, side bend over to the block. Let your head fall heavy in your hand. Now, what to do with this top arm? You can bring the top arm up, bend your elbow and let it rest on your head. My shoulder does not like this at all. So I take the back of my hand, place it on my sacrum, and come into my side bend this way. That way the front of my body is still open and I'm still getting the benefit of the side bend. The left hip bone, sits bone, is very heavy here. You want that nice spinning action. You're twisting open, but side bending at the same time. Once again, we're working in the hips, we're working in the ribs, and we're breathing. Let's take 10 of our deepest breaths yet. On your next inhalation, start to bring your torso back upright. Move your block out of the way. Stretch your legs out. Bend the right knee. Let the sole of the foot come up high, and then let the knee come out to the side. Take your block to the inside of your left leg. Sit up tall. Twist toward the bent knee. And as you come from this twisted place, so many jokes I could tell right now. Start to side bend over. Let the elbow find the left. Let the elbow find the block. Sorry, I was making jokes in my mind. And let the head find the hand. Take the back of the hand, if you'd like. Place it on your lower back. Rest in your side bend. Or you can bring your right arm up and over. Once again, my shoulders do not like that. If you like that, go for it. Find stillness. We're probably all a little twisted these days, more so than usual. Missing you all so much. Wishing you were here with me. Hoping for that reunion sooner than later. Hoping you're all healthy. Sending you all love. The room is not the same without you. Although I love being here. Five more of your deepest breaths yet. Let your next inhalation draw you back up to a comfortable seat. Find that comfortable seat. For me, I like to place my hips up high on a block. You will be sitting up for a few moments, doing a breathing practice together. The hips should be higher than the knees to maintain neutral curves in your spine. We're going to be combining two breathing practices, alternate nostril breath, which we'll start together, and pairing with our square breath. I will walk you through it. Don't worry about it. Just listen to my voice, and we will make it there together. Take your right hand and bring your index finger and your middle finger down toward your palm. You're going to be using your thumb and your ring finger for this practice. Your thumb is going to rest on your right nostril, not blocking it yet, and your ring finger is going to rest on your left nostril. Close your eyes. I will be guiding you through this breath with a count of 4. Inhale through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Close the right. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Close left. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Close right. Exhale left. 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 2, 3, 4. This time, if you would like to, you can join me as you inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. You can skip the hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Release your hand. Keep your eyes closed. Place your hands on your knees. Return your breath to a natural breath. Sit for a few moments and notice if that breathing practice had any effect on you. You can practice them independently, alternate nostril breath. You change sides every time you are going to inhale. And for square breath, you can count 4 inhale, hold, inhale. 4 exhale, hold, 4. Before you start inhaling again. I like the pairing of the two, starting with alternate nostril and layering on the square breath. Let's take another deep breath together. Keeping your eyes closed, as you inhale, quietly say to yourself, I make space. And as you exhale, for what life has to offer. Inhaling, I make space. Exhaling, for what life has to offer. Continue this for a few more breaths, this mantra. I make space on the inhale for what life has to offer on the exhale. A few more breaths just like this in our very short mantra meditation. I make space for what life has to offer. And when this meditation feels complete, you can stay here as long as you'd like. I'm going to very gently guide you down into everything you need to decrease any disruption. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your torso rest on the floor. Take your blocks and place them on the outsides of your thighs. So you feel a great stretch, but no strain. You can bring your arms out to the sides with your palms facing up. Bring some freedom into your practice. You don't even have to come into this pose. You can stay in your seated meditation. You can do some more pranayama, breathing practice. You can come straight into Shavasana. What is the truth of this moment? Be quiet. Put space between the question and the response. And dare to do as prompted. Freedom yoga, Eric calls it. Doing whatever you are moved to do. Instinctive movement. Staying here as long as you would like, bring the knees together and just slowly slide your way out into Shavasana in any shape that you would like, on your back, on your side, belly, legs up the wall. Find yourself heavy, relaxed, dropping the effort, dropping the action. Cover yourself with a blanket. Get an eye pillow for yourself. Rest. Take the next several minutes in Shavasana. Do not skip this piece. I would like to say that it is arguably, and I'm going to use arguably in yoga, different than combatively. It is arguably the most important part of our practice and shape that we make with our bodies. Make the space for rest and relaxation. I will leave you here to stay in this rest as long as you would like to, and I will send you with a blessing. May our mullets grow long. May our coffee stay hot. May our thoughts guide us into a deeper exploration within. creating more of a richness in our relationship to our inner world. May we ask the question of truth to be shown to us moment by moment in our practice. May we have the patience to be quiet and create space for the answers. And sometimes the most difficult step, may we dare to do as prompted, so that we and all beings everywhere may live in peace, in a shroud of love, happy, healthy, and safe, free from the causes of sorrow and suffering. Sending big, big love to each and every one of you, missing you beyond measure and more than words can say. I love you all. Namaste.